One Zambia, one nation. Good evening and welcome to the news at 18 hours here on ZNBC TV2 with me, Penifan Nyirenda. Let's look at the headlines. Police in the Eastern Province have arrested two traditional leaders from Chief Change's area for alleged illegal practices relating to the general election. President Edgar Lungu says Mpika district in Muchinga province will be split into three parts to enhance public service delivery. Also in the headlines, police in Malawi have arrested an HIV-positive man who says he is paid to have sex with children as part of initiation rites. And other news in detail. Police in the Eastern Province have arrested two traditional leaders from Chief Change's area for alleged illegal practices relating to the general election. They have been identified as headwoman Katamanda, whose real name is Alaina Piri, and headman Mbobo, whose real name is Tumelo Piri. Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja has confirmed this, saying the arrests were made after investigations into claims that 207 foreigners were allegedly registered as voters in Chipangali constituency. He was speaking today during a press briefing.
Great disappointment, the details of the people published in the Post newspaper edition were collected from residents of this same ward by the village headwoman Katamanda, whose real names are Alaina Piri, after being engaged by two women who were introduced to her by headman Mbombo, whose real names are Mr. Tumeyo Mbombo Piri, a UPND chairperson for Lukuzia ward in Chipangali constituency, after being promised to be paid 2,500 kwacha after the task of which a down payment of 500 was made. The head woman thereafter engaged two of her subjects, Mary Manda and Lena Nkoma, to execute this task. As regards to the 29 Tanzanians allegedly registered as voters by ECZ, our investigations have established that they are all Zambians registered as voters in Mbala and in Plungu, respectively.
Meanwhile, the police command has instituted an inquiry into the conduct of police officers who have been depicted with campaign posters in a photo carried in today's edition of the Post newspaper. Inspector General of Police Mr. Kanganja has since warned members of the public against dragging police officers into partisan politics. He has reiterated that the police service will remain non-partisan and impartial. President Edgar Lungu says Mpika district in Muchinga province will be split into three parts in order to enhance public service delivery. The president was speaking today when he addressed residents of Muwele area in Mpika, Muchinga province. The president has explained that government will engage technocrats and traditional leaders to see how best Mpika district can be split, as it is larger than the Copperbelt province. President Lungu also says government will also construct a new road to Mawele area in Kanchibea constituency, as well as communication towers. And speaking at the same public rally, former Football Association of Zambia FAS President Kalusha Bwalya said President Lungu deserves another mandate. Kalusha also praised President Lungu for his support to the development of Zambian football and the Chipolopolo. Meanwhile, speaking earlier in Malambo constituency, President Lungu called for oneness, peace and development, saying this would be the PF's theme for the general election. President Lungu has urged the people of Malambo to reject leaders who are aggravating violence. The president was speaking when he addressed PF supporters who welcomed him at Mfuwe International Airport in the Eastern Province while on his way to Muchinga Province. President Lungu has explained that leaders who are threatening to cause violence once they lose elections should not be supported. The president is on a 3-day working visit to Muchinga Province. UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema has promised to give free plots to residents of Livingston, Southern Province, who applied for plots in 2012. Mr. Hichilema says all those that have already paid for the plots will be refunded their money if the UPND is voted in power. Addressing a rally in Livingston yesterday, Mr. Hichilema said the UPND will revamp the tourism and manufacturing industries. Mr. Hichilema, who is accompanied by the United Democratic Front UDF leader Mao Sampa, promised to reduce value-added tax on room rates, saying this will reduce the cost of accommodation. He also promised to give loans to taxi drivers and improve water supply in the district. But local government minister Stephen Kampyongo has urged the people of Livingston to ignore Mr. Hichilema's promises. Mr. Kampyongo has explained that he had to suspend Livingston Council because some UPND councillors were involved in shoddy land transactions. He has said Mr. Hichilema should desist from making false promises, typical of political fantasy. Mr. Kampyongo has said giving free plots is not possible, as the pieces of land need to be fully serviced by the council before they are allocated. The Lusaka Magistrate Court has again adjourned the case in which former President Rupia Banda has sued Post Newspapers proprietor Fred Membe and Rainbow Party leader Winter Kabemba for contempt. The matter was earlier expected to come up for opening up defense by the accused. However, this has not started. This is because the former president had hinted that he has forgiven Mr. Membe and Mr. Kabemba and subsequently wanted to withdraw the case. And on Monday, July 25, Mr. Banda's lawyers and the defense asked for time to work out modalities of withdrawing the matter. When the matter came up today, the lawyers further asked for more time. Lusaka Magistrate Kenneth Mulife has since adjourned the case to August 16, 2016 for possible commencement of defense or withdrawal of the matter. More in this report.
The case in which former President Rupia Banda sued Post Newspapers proprietor Fred Membe and Rainbow Party President Winter Kabimba has taken a new twist. In this matter, Mr. Membe and Mr. Kabimba are charged with defamation and contempt of court. Earlier this week, the matter was scheduled for opening of defense by the three accused persons. But Mr. Banda, who is the complainant, had hinted withdrawing the matter after forgiving the three accused persons. Following Mr. Banda's statement, his lawyers were supposed to inform the court of their client's position, then withdraw the matter, but this has not happened. Now, both the defense and the state have asked for more time to work out modalities of withdrawing the case. When the matter came up today for the second time, Mr. Banda's lawyer Jonas Zimba asked for more time to agree on modalities with the defense. The matter has since been adjourned to the 16th of August for possible opening of defense or withdrawing of the matter by the former president. Hector Simfokwe, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, the Lusaka High Court has dismissed an application by the UPND seeking leave to commence judicial review against ZNBC's decision not to broadcast a documentary featuring the party's leader, Hakainde Hichilema. The application has been dismissed with costs to be borne by the applicant. In making the application, UPND Secretary General Stephen Katuka had said the decision by ZNBC to reject the documentary is unreasonable. He argued that this move would hinder his party president from reaching out to the people. But ZNBC argued that it only disapproved some portions of the documentary that contain hate speech, as it did not conform to the company's editorial policy. The respondent further told the court that ZNBC was willing to air the documentary like it has done with other UPND adverts once some portions are removed. And in delivering the ruling, High Court Judge Mwila Chitabo agreed with ZNBC that the UPND would have used the Conflict Management Committee to address their concern and not rush to court. Justice Chitabo further discharged the expert order for leave to apply for judicial review that was granted to the UPND because his court has no jurisdiction to hear the matter. At this point, we take our first break, and still to come in the news, fire burns to death a boy in Lusaka, plus other stories. Keep watching. For staying with us, we continue with the news. A 12-year-old A 12-year-old has been burnt to death after a fire swept through the house he was sleeping in Lusaka's Ballot compound. The fire, which started last night around 22 hours, was only put out an hour later by some neighbors. Meanwhile, John Mulenga, the deceased boy's grandfather, says he suspects foul play. Here is a report.
Manda, a grade 4 pupil, was last night burnt to death while sleeping in his grandparents' house in Ballot compound. Neighbors rushed to the scene to help quench the fire, though too late.
Se usiku kuma 22:50 so tizona che tusi toka mwama ishtidi panja so pena bla na tusi toka hani kutika kupia nyumba so bobo checking the bot kanji ni hapa pasha so dipita ba ucha organize na magaza atenti tinga kuma tambo tenga manzi kwamba utira ko yanshi pa dodo nshi muri kwa buka mali so kumata tenti panye pamwamba pamwamba malata dipita kwa pamwamba na magaza kwamba ponya mala tutiti tivunukure checking muntu tabwa nisha pia kudara nyeka no nyeka.
How was it?
It was around 22 somewhere. I came up, I'd find fire all over. When I'd find fire, I'd find the boy was laying down, and I was the one who lifted the boy to take him outside. From there, I waited for the police, and 23 times things when the police arrived.
Grandfather to the deceased, John Mulenga, suspects foul play in the matter.
I'm suspecting foul play because of those footsteps, and the lights outside were switched off from ZESCO. Inside the house, the main distribution board, the switches were on, which puzzled us to say, how can the switch from outside be off and inside they are on? That's why we are suspecting a foul play. And footsteps can be heard loudly by me and my wife. That's when the boy cried to say, Mbuya, Mbuya, Mbuya. The time we came out, the fire was everywhere. Fire doesn't start like that.
Family members have reported the matter to police. They have also contacted ZESCO to carry out investigations on what could have caused the fire. The body of the deceased has since been deposited into the mortuary at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH. Lufola Nkawani, TV2 News, in Lusaka.
The Ministry of Health says at least 5 to 10% of Zambians suffer from some form of hepatitis. Lusaka Province Medical Officer Kennedy Malama has confirmed, saying the ailment usually manifests in symptoms such as fatigue, poor appetite and abdomen pains. He was speaking ahead of the commemoration of International Day of Hepatitis, whose 2016 theme is No Hepatitis, Act Now. More in this report.
It might sound like a new disease in Zambia, as little is known about hepatitis. And Ministry of Health has realized that hepatitis has not been publicized much, and most patients do not understand the intensity of the disease. Hepatitis is inflammation of the liver cells, which is caused by bacteria, fungi or virus. There are several types of hepatitis, and type A and B are transmitted through fecal-oral or contaminated food. Hepatitis B, C, and D is transmitted through blood-borne. This disease is also transmitted through sexual intercourse and using contaminated needles. In short, it is spread through contact with the blood and body fluids of infected person.
So in a nutshell, you see that the hepatitis of importance are the viral hepatitis, which can be caused by fecal-oral transmission or indeed through blood-borne transmission. When you say how important is this condition in Zambia, it's very, very important. Studies done have shown that in Zambia, the prevalence of the hepatitis I've talked about is about 5 to 10%. And that's very important because it means out of 100 people you look at, 10 of them may actually be carrying hepatitis. What is worrisome is that if you don't do anything and someone has hepatitis, especially the B, C, D type, it can even become chronic. and it can lead to the damage of the river. They get what we may call river cirrhosis. This is permanent damage to the river.
And several Lusaka residents have expressed ignorance on the disease. I took to the streets of Lusaka to find out what people know about the disease. What do you know about hepatitis?
Matenda hepatitis. But hepatitis is regarding about dual apostosis of the hapo.
Siniyaziva.
Okay. Tupo chani pa matenda ya hepatitis. Matenda ya hepatitis. Kuribi. Siyaziva. Okay. The prevalence rate on the Zambian population is between 5 to 10%. However, it is higher among the people who go for screening and stands at between 15 to 20%. Teofista Lungu, TV2 News in Lusaka.
The Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, EFZ, says the printing of ballot papers for the August 11 general election has been conducted in a transparent and incident-free manner. A representative of the EFZ in Dubai, Bishop Shemi Makelela, says Al Hurriya Printing has accorded a transparent opportunity to all the party representatives who have witnessed the printing process. Meanwhile, Al Hurriya Printing General Manager Lakshmanan Ganapathy says the delivery of all the ballot papers to the airport authorities in readiness for dispatch to Zambia on Thursday completes his company's works. Jeff Banda now reports.
This is the last consignment of ballot papers for the August 11th general elections that has left the printing company today and handed over to airport authorities. These ballot papers arrive in Zambia in the second cargo plane on Thursday evening. Bishop Shemi Makelele is the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia representative who has been witnessing the printing process.
The printing exercise has been completed successfully and peacefully without any major incidents. We also want to thank God that the materials are now ready to be transported back home.
And Islamic Supreme Council of Zambia representative Shaban Piri says he has witnessed the printing process from the time the process started.
Everything has gone well and we are so satisfied that we have done the best thing. So we must congratulate ourselves that we have done the right thing, and the people of Zambia should trust the people that they've sent here to be able to give the correct information of what has happened.
And the political party representatives, speaking through People's Alliance Congress representative Himba Malambo, said the printing process has brushed aside all the fears of mistrust that the individual political parties held about the printing company.
Finally, we've come to the end of the process. It has been a very exciting and challenging moment, and it has a lot of lessons to learn, but we are happy. And the packaging, we are also satisfied with the packaging. And apparently there's no ballot paper which is getting to Zambia by road. All the ballot papers are getting to Zambia by air. So there's nothing like they're coming by road or anything like that.
An ECZ commissioner who is delegation leader of this group, Emily Skazwe, thanked all party representatives for the job well done.
This is how it should be. We have really demonstrated that we are Team Zambia, and that is what the country sent us to do together.
For El Hurriya Printing and Publishing Company General Manager, completion of this task is a huge excitement.
And we are quite confident that all of you here are satisfied with the quality of the work that we have done. And this is the completion of our 27th ballot paper project in the last 8 years.
Dubai, with its flamboyant buildings, and the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, has entered in the books of history as the city that printed Zambia's 2016 ballot papers. Jeff Banda, ZNBC News in Dubai.
Meanwhile, all the ballot papers for the August 11, 2016 general election arrive in the country on Thursday, July 28, 2016. The ballots will be airlifted from Dubai, where they were being printed in 2 consignments via cargo flight. The first consignment will arrive at 14:15 hours, while the second will arrive at 18:25 hours. Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, Public Relations Manager Chris Akfuna has confirmed this in a statement. And Mr. Akfuna says the verification exercise of the ballots will start on Friday, July 29. Meanwhile, the ECZ has convened a meeting for electoral stakeholders set for Friday, July 29, to update them on the preparations for the elections. The Ministry of Justice has cautioned people who are spreading false information on proposed Bill of Rights that it has enshrined homosexuality. Legal counsel Kevin Mwemba has issued the caution in Lusaka, Muchinga Province, during the Ministry of Justice's ongoing countrywide sensitization campaign. Mr. Mwemba has explained that the Bill of Rights instead provides that for special rights such as a person who has attained the age of 19 having the right to choose a spouse of the opposite sex and marry. He has since challenged government departments, NGOs, the civil society and the church to explain in depth why it is important to vote yes in the referendum on August 11. And the Lusaka District Administrative Officer Gesham Jere has praised the Ministry of Justice for sensitizing people in the area. Moving on in the news, on the foreign front, an HIV-positive Malawian man who says he is paid to have sex with children as part of initiation rites has been arrested on the president's orders. Eric Aniva, a sex worker known in Malawi as a hyena, was the subject of a BBC feature last week. President Peter Mutharika said the police should investigate and charge him over the cases of defilement he had seemingly confessed to. The BBC's Ed Butler, who covered the story about Malawi's sexual cleansing practices, says in some remote southern regions of the country, it is traditional for girls to be made to have sex with a man after their first menstruation. Some of the girls are as young as 12 years old. What is known as hyena in Malawi culture is usually a man who has sex with widows or married women who cannot fall pregnant. In sports, the Chess Federation of Zambia has praised chess players who represented Zambia at the just-ended Africa Championship held in Kampala, Uganda, for minting silver medals. And Federation President Erichon Shikokola says Kayonde has been representing Zambia well at national tournaments and a silver medal is appreciated. Shikokola says the chess players were among champions at the tournament but managed to perform exceedingly well. Shikokola was speaking to ZNBC Sports News in an interview in Lusaka.
As Chess Federation of Zambia, to have produced a player to mint a silver medal at the Africa Individual Chess Championship. Andrew Kayonde is our national champion, and he is one of those people whom we sent as a federation to go and represent the country, together with our female compatriot, Lolita Mwango. It was a 9-round tournament which comprised of some of the strongest chess players on the continent of Africa. One of the highest rated players in the competition was Ahmed Adri from Egypt with a rating of 2607. In terms of strength, when you are talking about chess, a 2607 is a super grandmaster, meaning in 2 years or 3 years time, if you work so hard, is likely to even compete for the coveted World Championship proper, which is held by current Magnus Carlsen of the Norway.
The National Championships chess tournament was an individual championship tournament dubbed the best of the best, held in Kampala, Uganda, and hosted several African countries. Chess players Andrew Kayonde and counterpart Lolita Mwango won silver. To end the news, the headlines again. Police in the Eastern Province have arrested 2 traditional leaders from Chief Chanja's area for alleged illegal practices relating to the general election. They have been identified as Headwoman Katamanda, whose real name is Alaina Piri, and Headman Bobo, whose real name is Tumelo Piri. President Edgar Lungu says Mpika district in Muchinga province will be split into 3 parts to enhance public service delivery. The president was speaking today when he addressed residents of Muwele area in Mpika, Muchinga province. And police in Malawi have arrested an HIV-positive man who says he is paid to have sex with children as part of initiation rites. The arrest follows the president's orders after a BBC program which featured Eric Aniva as subject last week. Ends the news at 18. Join us for the next update at 20 hours. Goodbye for now and God bless you.